so it's 5 o'clock.
Second.
And what I'm going to do is, it's the reorganization meeting, so I would ask if there's any nominations for board chair. Yep.
I will nominate Lisa again if she would want to consider serving.
Are you willing to accept?
Yes, sure.
Are there any other nominations? No? Okay, all those in, or
Second.
make a motion or a second?
Second.
Paul,
Yes.
second. All those in favor?
Thank
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Meeting's all yours.
Great, okay,
Congratulations.
welcome. Sounds
First
good. So we're
vice
going
chair.
to now nominate a vice chair. Do I hear any, yes, Sam?
I'll nominate Bernie if she's willing to serve and be vice chair.
Sure.
Great. Second, all right,
Second.
second Barbara. All those in favor? Opposed, abstaining, fantastic. No abstentions.
All right.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Bernie, appreciate it.
Do we want to do quick introductions for Tony so we know?
Sure, let's go around the room. Let's start with Dan. Everybody can share.
I'm Dan Rossner, I'm the business administrator for the SAU.
I'm Barbara Noyes, representative from Plymouth.
Phil McCormick, Holdings.
Bertie Sullivan, Wentworth.
Paul Ciani, also Thornton. Tony Torino, Thornton.
Lisa Ash Plymouth.
Sam Brinkley Holderness.
Janice Prescott,
Okay, sorry.
board secretary and administrative assistant to Bruce.
Jazzle Como, student rep. You know Janet?
Yep.
And you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Great, and Dan's behind the Pemi Baker TV. We thank
Oh, yeah.
him so much. Appreciate him being here. Very fortunate to have Dan. Okay, board reorganization, we just did this. Were we gonna move agenda review and disposition? Do we want to go through?
So a couple things that we can do, just under other, I just would like to add committee assignments or committee discussion. And that's it for that piece, but do you want to move the presentation to now so they can,
Sure.
they don't have to stay for the
Absolutely.
entire
Yep.
meeting?
No, absolutely. I thought we were going to do it in my report.
We could put it right up.
Perfect.
Is it okay to do it now?
Yes, that
Okay.
sounds
Great.
wonderful.
Great.
So Danae, if you would be so kind to introduce, you recall, the board does know of your field trip and the awards the high school did win under your direction. So Danae, tell
Well,
them.
we all want to first just thank you for all that you do for our school and our community. Our students want to come and share because for you to understand what incredible work that you do that allows our students to do and continue on with their work in our community and the nation, honestly. We have phenomenal students here. Eliza Foote and Owen Hickey were chosen by ourselves to represent our high school as well as the state of New Hampshire in Washington, D.C. To meet with our representatives. I'm going to let them take the floor and kind of tell you all about it though. Thank you again for all you do.
Hello everyone, my name is Owen.
I'm Eliza.
We got the opportunity to go to Washington DC with Special Olympics for Capitol Hill Day. Put together this slideshow and tell you a little bit about it.
All right, so on February 5th, we left New Hampshire and headed to DC. This was the first time Owen and I had both ever been on a plane. And it was also the first time we had ever traveled without our parents. So this was a lot of firsts for us, but we were very excited for this new experience.
When we went to DC, we formally met Mark Erickson, Senior Manager of Multimedia at Special Olympics New Hampshire, and Eric Tinker, Board Chairman at Special Olympics New Hampshire. We checked into our hotel rooms and got professional headshots done.
That first day, we had some time to walk around DC, so we got to look at the Museum of Natural History. And then after that, in the afternoon, we attended training meetings with all of the other states that were in attendance, where we learned about the purpose of Hill Day, which was supporting federal funding for Special Olympics health programs and Unified Champion Schools.
February 6th was a big day. Team New Hampshire, along with other states, traveled to Capitol Hill Day to talk to our congressmen and women.
So we got to meet with Chris Pappas, Maggie Hassan, Jean Shaheen, and then we met one of Ann Custer's staff members. We unfortunately did not meet with her herself. In these meetings, we got to discuss funding for Special Olympics, and then if the funding is secured, meaning it's passed by Congress, then it will continue to support the important work of the health programming and Unified Champion programs that Special Olympics does, just like the ones at our school. So these are our meetings with Ann Custer and Maggie Hassan, and these are our meetings with Chris Pappas and Jean Sheen. And the best part about these meetings was that all 4 of New Hampshire's congressmen and women assured us that they would support funding for Special Olympics in the congressional bill.
After our meetings on the Hill, we went to the Special Olympics reception. We met Tim Shriver, CEO of Special Olympics, James Day Keith, star of the new hit movie Champions, and many students our age from around the country.
February 7th was our last day in DC, and we had a couple of hours of sightseeing around the city before we had to fly home.
We visited the Washington Monument and the World War II Memorial.
We got to see the Lincoln Monument.
In the African American History Museum.
And then after a long morning of walking around the city, we flew home.
We would like to say that we are so thankful for these experiences and to meet new people and all the new things we learned during this trip. We would not have this opportunity without support from our school, school board, and community.
And of course, we are so thankful for all of the food we got. Owen had a lot of chicken.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone has any questions or comments or feedback, we'd love to hear them.
Just thanks for doing it. Must have been pretty exciting.
Yes, we're both very grateful for the opportunity.
How'd you enjoy the flight?
Sorry?
How'd you enjoy the flight?
I think we both like takeoff, right, Owen?
That was about it.
The rest of it, I don't know about. It's a little scary for me. Anyone else? Yeah?
Was the primary presentation that you were looking for there, the funding for special needs?
Yes, so the reason, there are like 40 something states in attendance, all with kids our age being sent, and the primary purpose was to talk to our congressional delegation about funding for Special Olympics, because Special Olympics receives discretionary funding from Congress. Anyone else?
Nice job. Thank
Great
you
job,
for
Dan.
presenting us. Thanks, Danae. Nice job.
He's got his music going. I just hear a little bit of my
Great, okay. Privilege of the floor, we don't have anyone, okay.
We want to go back up to
You gotta do it in 5 minutes.
minutes,
Yeah.
so we skipped out all of it.
Approval of the minutes is next for March 5th. Did anyone see anything? No? Does anyone want to approve those?
Make a motion to approve the mention.
Paul, great, seconded by Barbara. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, student report.
Okay, so for this week, it's the start of school sports, which is very exciting. And last Saturday, Student Senate, or some Student Senate students, they went to the Capitol down in Concord for the YMCA Youth in Government, including myself. And that was basically the pre-legislative session for the overnight trip to prepare for. We have in April 12th through 13th, Friday, Saturday. And for music, this Thursday is Cultural Arts Night. There will be art displayed at the elementary school from all middle schools around the district, and also art from PRHS. There will also be a concert at the high school featuring middle schools plus the high school. Also for music, next Wednesday, March 27th, is a jazz band. They will be going down to the state capitol for the second Hill Day, sponsored by the New Hampshire Music Educators Association. They will also be joining schools from all around the state, and they will be helping promote music education and Music in Our Schools Month, which is this month, for our legislators. Also, as you know, if you went, there's a school play last weekend, which was like unbelievable. I loved it. They put on Anastasia. And also next week is the SATs and PSATs on Thursday. And seniors on that day will be watching a movie at the Flying Monkey. But also some seniors will go on college tour or the senior trip. And I'm very excited, but the senior class trip is next week, or I think 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. They'll be going to NYC, New York. They'll be going to a Broadway, Times Square, and the Bronx Zoo, and much more.
Thank you. Nice job. Bill?
Yeah.
Are you performing, when the group goes to Concord, are they performing in front of the State House like they did last year?
Yeah, like
Okay,
outside.
okay.
What's the play you're gonna see, do you know?
Oh, we're seeing The Outsiders.
Ooh,
I'm excited.
nice. Great, enjoy. Okay, Mr. Parsons.
Okay, Jen, will you mind passing out the Bobcat? Just to piggyback off of Kev, I mean, the play, kudos to Aubrey Ringline and Anthony Harrison. It was outstanding. We have pretty much had a full house almost every night, and theater is back alive and well at Plymouth Regional High School. I'm happy to report. She did talk to you about the field trip, you know, because we were off kilter because of the college. Usually with the college, we send our seniors up there. We do like Denise McGlone runs we run all these workshops. With the college in session, that wasn't possible. So we had to come up with a very creative plan because it is a regular school day for the kids. So I personally met with the senior class and told them what I had proposed. So there's 48 kids going on the field trip, approximately 135 kids in the senior class. So we rented the Flying Monkey. We're going to be seeing the Holdovers. You watched the Oscars, it was up for Best Picture. I think she won for Best Supporting Actor. It's a high school. It's geared towards high school. I think the kids will enjoy it. We're also providing lunch. I'm doing chicken fingers and macaroni and mac and cheese. We'll walk them down. We're on a off schedule anyways. The kids get released, I think, at 1:20, 1:30, because the test is pretty short, the 9, 10, 11th grade. So that's what we're doing on the 28th. April 2nd, when we come back, you have school board night. It's also step-up night. Tennille is the lead administrator on that. So we have the kids coming in with the parents. We have quite a night for them, as we always have in the past. Janet and Todd are way ahead of the schedules. I did all the sections. We also just came back from a trip from Washington. I think we did about 18 or 20 miles. Hopefully that trip will continue next year. I think Todd and Janet know exactly what has to be done to make that happen. But we did all the schedules, so Todd is inputting them right now, and obviously we'll be doing nominations on the April 2nd, once I meet with Kyler on that. Other than that, if you have any questions going through that Bobcat, it's a wild ride. Q3 ends, I think, April 9th. And I do have a field trip I need to get approved. It's a regular one that we always do. It's the Student Senate. They're going down on Friday night, April 12th. They come back, it's a one night, proper chaperoning. Anthony Casarino is the student advisor. They meet all day in the State House. They will be at the Comfort Inn. Approximately 20 students, approximately, and it's $120 per kid, but the school, we picked that up in the budget. And that, again, I'll need a motion for that to go.
Okay, who would like to make, Barbara, would you like to make that? Seconded by Paul. Any questions? Everybody's good on the information? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, abstaining? Okay.
We also have, tomorrow I have the security coming for the state Supreme Court. We're having the trial here, later date in April. So that should be exciting. And I'll get all the details for you. Todd will handle the security in that piece. I'll be doing all the hospitality. And Anthony will, I have invited elementary schools, their 8th grade. So we'll put a select few in that auditorium on that day. So we look forward to that. I also have one more other thing. We have that old bus. Dan and I have been trying for years to get a seller for that. It is a handicapped accessible. It's one of our oldest transports. And I did get an offer for it, and it's the Blue Book value. And it's approximately $3,500 for the purchase of a 2013 Ford E450 Super Duty Mini School Bus, which is owned by you guys. And the proposal came in from ADAPT, that's that program up in Thornton, who will make good use of it, who we use for our outdoor program. And if I do need a handicap bus, obviously, New Durham has that, but if not, I'm sure ADAPT would accommodate us. So this is really needs to be done because that bus just sits there. It'll be we're down to 6 vans now. I'm replacing 1. And again, that's on money that came in from the use of vans. No cost on the taxpayers on that one. So that new van will come in at the end of April, and that will increase our fleet to 7. Because we have some that are up there on miles. And they're very, very important for our field trips and also for our athletic events, especially for our JV and freshman programs where the numbers aren't. I don't have to depend on New Durham for that. We can just send it out with our own coaches. So if there's any questions on that, I'm looking for a motion to sell the bus.
I have a couple questions.
Barb, sure.
So this will be our 7th, once the new one comes in?
Yes, 7th van.
Right, so are we trying to keep those on a rotating basis?
Yes.
Okay, it's not just a matter of what condition they're in, we're gonna do this?
No, we rotate. There's a lot of work that goes into it, Barbara. I have one person that just deals, cleaning them, inspection,
Yeah.
rotating the, it's.
Well, I know that's
yeah.
what we do with most everything, is
Yep.
we have things on a rotating
Yep.
basis. So.
And that's in a separate account, there's a van account, so if people use it, there's a cost to it. Also, I've rented it to other schools when they go on field trips within the SAU.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Okay, who would like to make that
I made the motion.
motion, seconded by Bernie, to accept that offer for the purchase
Thank
price
you.
of the van? Sure. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Great. Thank you.
And then Janet has something for you for,
Just real quick before Janet speaks, she's going to speak about the solar eclipse coming up. I have received one correspondence asking if we considered a half-day for high school kids. We did not, but Janet will tell you what we have planned instead and how we're celebrating it and having educational activities. School gets out prior to the eclipse for the high school as well, so it's just something to note. Janet?
Yeah, so I met with Dave McKinney, the Astronomy Club advisor. So his kids are really kind of taking the educational component for us. They are creating public service announcements for the kids in poster size. They're going to put them around the school. It is a Monday, so we're going to use the Bobcat advisory time. They're going to distribute glasses on a cart. The public service announcement will have both information and a QR code, and if the kids scan the QR code, it will bring up a bit of a video that does include some safety guidelines for viewing the eclipse. We are working on the inventory of the glasses, so between what Mr. McKinney was able to get and what Pam Martin was able to get, we'll be able to give glasses out to the entire building. Secondarily, I've worked with Todd on athletics because it will be during athletics for us. So he has held a coaches meeting and plans to revisit this with the coaches the week of. They are going to pause practices accordingly. All coaches will have safety, the solar glasses to view the event. And and he's waiting on, apparently NHIAA weighed in on this recently, so he might get a couple other guidelines coming from NHIAA. He's waiting on that. But we are two-pronging it based on the community feedback between the education and celebration of it and the safety of it. So I think we're well planned, and we will communicate this information out to staff next week at faculty meeting.
Okay, any questions for Janet? No? Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Great. I just want to stop and welcome Sheila.
Yeah.
For coming. Let's just go around one more time. Sorry, everyone. I just wanted to include.
I'm Dan Roster, the business administrator for the SAU.
Barbara Noyes from Plymouth.
Phil McCormick, Holderness.
Bernie Sullivan, Wentworth.
Paul Ciati, Thornton. Tony Torino, Thornton.
Lisa Ash, Plymouth.
Sheila Donahue, Campton.
Sam Brinkley, Holderness.
Janice Prescott, Board Secretary. Jasmine Como, Student Rep.
Great.
I'm Jana Eccleston, the assistant principal.
And the new principal coming in. I'm the outgoing principal, first class.
And then we met Kyla Welch, superintendent.
Yes, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great, okay. Our next meeting will be April 16th. So we have nomination for faculty and coaches, and we're going to be accomplishing them.
That's the April 2nd meeting. The committee meetings will be April 16th. So I'm thinking
Okay.
after tonight, under other business, we'll talk about the committees to see, and then you'll ultimately assign folks to each of the committees and whatever preference they want. You typically,
So you think you'll get, my question was April 2nd, you think you'll get in the nominations for faculty and coaches? Because that can be a long meeting just to prepare
yeah, so
people.
you're going to be doing all support staff and faculty, everyone, given the workforce out there. We're going to do them all pretty early.
Okay.
So that tends to be a little long. Always fun for the new folks that haven't gone through it
Just
yet,
a
but
heads up.
jump
Yeah.
right into it.
Okay, great. Sounds good. And, all right, discussion items. ESSER, HVAC, Phase 3, our final descent on the
Phase
system
3.
we've been working on over the last 2
So I'm just
years.
going to give a little background for Sheila and Tony as well, because we've been in this project for multiple years, and it's a pretty big decision tonight, and sometimes as a new board member coming in, you kind of want to know what you're voting on. So I'm just going to go through kind of the timeline, a little more detail than I typically go through, just so everybody's aware. So in 2020 and prior, on our capital improvement plan, we have replacement of the HVAC and the heating system and transitioning to the air conditioning in some of the classrooms. There's a new law that went into place this year that now classrooms have to be within a certain range, and I believe that's around 72, can't get beyond, I think the degree is 78. Some of our classrooms do go above that in those hot days, or vice versa, or cold days. So it's always been in the plan. It's always been one of those projects that was a lot of money, that was deferred a little bit. Well, 2020 hit, COVID hit, we received numerous funds through the ESSER grants, which is the COVID relief money. So that project was kind of bumped to the top in 2021, which was the HVAC, and back then was really, we were renovating all the bathrooms, we were going to do the HVAC, and we were going to renovate the locker rooms, all for a much lower cost than we are talking about now because inflation hadn't hit yet. So there were 3 phases of the ESSER projects, basically, ESSER funds that were available for each year that you could basically use to help prevent a pandemic. So the HVAC system fit nicely into that because you're cleaning up the air system, and the bathrooms helped as well because it created more social distancing and fit the definition of what ESSER could be used for. So CCI was approved as a sole source through the grant, which was allowable, and Peter Stewart as the architect as well. So in ESSER 1, 2, and 3 became available. Our HVAC project was broken out into the 3 phases over 3 summers, 21, 22, 22, 23, and now tonight we're talking about the 23, 24, which is the last phase of the project. Phase 1 was approved in 21 and was completed for the summer. That was the bathrooms and the HVAC. Mostly ESSER funds were used to complete that Phase 1 project. In March 2023, Phase 2 and 3 were approved for summer HVAC work. Basically, we bought all the equipment with the ESSER funds last year for this summer's project. So we have the equipment sitting and waiting right now, which was a big purchase. The leeway time was huge. We ordered them back in the summer.
Correct.
We have most of it here. The last of the deliveries are done this month.
It's on the side of the building. I got a storage unit for it.
Inflation went up again. CCI had to rework their funds as well, so we've been waiting for pricing. We're looking for a decision tonight because they have to get the subs in place for execution right when school gets out, because we have that short window in the summer that we get all these projects done. We anticipate about $200,000 would be left in ESSER, and that would expend all of our ESSER 1, 2, 3 funds at that point. And we have been anticipating from the beginning, or the end of the summer, beginning of the year, that this project in Phase 3 would be about $1.3 million. So that's the total for Phase 3. That's what we were thinking it was going to be the whole time. Hoping we can look at local funds and any savings in the budget to help fund this project. CCI came up with the final pricing, and the total at this point came in a little bit less at $1,167,876 to be exact. The scope of Phase 3 includes, the HVAC project includes the removal of the existing HVAC systems that feed the band room, art rooms, chorus room, and the gym. The new HVAC systems will be reinstalled, which will have heat and air conditioning. The air conditioning does not exist in any of these spaces. Again, those are the rooms that overheat typically. Correct.
Correct. Those were the new one we added on in 1999, the Harvey project when we did that.
Like I said, the mechanical equipment was ordered last fall. Some of it is already on site, while the remainder is scheduled to be delivered this month. It's important to note that the current HVAC unit feeding the gym has reached its end of life and will need to be addressed. It is addressed within this Phase 3. So if you do this final approval, it gets taken care of. So I told you the final cost is $1,167,876. The ESSER funds that will cover it, which need to be spent by September 30th, and you can't put in any new projects, so that's already committed to this project, would be $204,038.79. Sorry, it's so exact. It's just that's how grants work. So local funds I'm asking for tonight is $963,833. Now, given our current status, I have Dan here for any questions as well. We have a number of areas that we've looked at that we feel we can cover this comfortably. We thought about some of this last year and pre-bought a lot of our IT devices, so that had a huge savings of over $200,000. We had health insurance savings of over $265,000. We had several students, and I can't get into too much detail, change programming in special education or special education transport has changed, which includes homeless, foster care, and out-of-district placement. We have significant savings there. Those are two combined lines of over $800,000. And then we were really unable to fill our a lot of the special ed paraprofessionals and custodians that we had talked about. There has been a shortage, so we haven't been fully staffed. So with that, we've saved over $75,000 in para salaries and over $90,000 in custodial services. So we do have the funds to execute this project. CCI is asking that we do this so they can get moving with it and get it planned. And we're very comfortable doing that. So I'm asking the board to approve the local funds given the status of the budget and the plan that we've had in place.
Okay, questions for Dan or Kylie?
I'd make a motion to do that,
Okay.
to get it on the floor.
Okay, seconded by Bernie. Okay, any additional questions or? Nope, we're ready to
The
vote?
only thing that,
Please go.
do you really need, the money has already been approved. You really need to have, it's fine to do it, but I mean.
Yeah, yes, at this last phase, because it is, you've approved the project
Right.
in its entirety initially, and I think Sam's always talked that too. Haven't we already done this 100 times? But you're asking for a specific purchase order towards CCI
Okay,
for that
okay,
funding for this year. But you've already approved the entire scope of the project in 2021.
We already have the money.
Well, sure.
And we already have the equipment, so if we don't, I think, a good
You're
question, if we
giving
don't
up-
approve the final distribution with
Right.
this excess money that we need,
Right.
I assume we're stuck with all this equipment.
Yes.
Correct.
No, what-
And not spending the ESSER funds of
And not- right.
But the
$204,000.
money's already in the budget, isn't it?
Correct,
Yeah,
you're
that's what I'm
just
saying. It's
approving
already in the
to,
budget,
yeah,
so, and that's been approved by,
yeah.
yeah, okay, no, I'm.
Yeah, the voters and us.
Yeah, yeah.
Barbara?
Would you just repeat that figure for the local funds?
It's,
Local funds is 963,833.
yep, correct. Spot on.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. Any other questions? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor? All right, nobody's opposing or abstaining. Okay, all set?
Great, and then just a follow-up, as we move towards the end of the year, we did cut some stuff from the other budget, so we're just gonna be monitoring. I have Dan here each month to kind of guide you through the last few months to see if you want to give anything back, what additional monies you want to retain, and additional projects that we cut from next year's budget that we had talked about possibly funding if we have the funds.
Okay.
There are some projects that I'm cleaning up on.
Okay.
That I'll go.
And as we, can I ask a question?
Sure.
And as we go along, the administration will make like a priority list?
A priority list.
Recommendation?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I found it very helpful to have Dan here in past years to help guide us through this. And
We get
what-
close.
give us what our options are. It's very helpful, I
You-
think.
And you don't want to do it all in June.
No.
You want to
Right.
just kind of see where we're at, because kids move in, other expenses come in, or move out. So we just kind of try to really monitor that closely.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Sounds good. So Dan, with the vote that we just made, you'll work on some figures for April 2nd? Is that, or in April?
Just an update.
Update, okay, thank you so much. Okay, and so just to go over our election, Carolyn Barron was the second person that ran against Sheila for the seat in Campton. And in the meantime, last week, I got a phone call from Peter Pettingill, who is putting his house on the market and moving to a community down in New Hampton, so he'll be completely out of the district. So at that time, he let me know that his seat would be vacant, and
He did notify the board himself
that's right.
last
okay.
time as well, so, but it was after all the election stuff went through.
Right, he apologized about that to me too. And then, Bruce, you in the meantime have talked with Carolyn Bennett.
Yes, I have.
She will,
She's more than willing to serve on the, yeah,
okay,
most appreciative.
great. All right, sounds good. And then it's her option to run when
Correct.
that term's up, which do we know, is that a year left?
So basically, if you would, so we're asking, typically, I talked about this at the last board meeting too. If there's two running and you have a big one, you usually offer it to that person if they want to take it. So you can appoint her tonight. And basically, it's good to March, and then she has to run separately for the remainder of the term. So she would run for 2 years after this year.
Right, and I'm thinking Carolyn was on for about 10 years, Bruce?
At least 10 to
At
12.
least, right?
Yeah,
10 to 12?
representing Thornton.
So she's got a lot of experience with our board. I imagine most of you have worked with her. So yes, I would entertain a motion to put her in that, in
Appoint her to
Peter's.
that position.
I'll make that motion.
Seconded by Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Peter's in favor, great, okay, super.
Great, so we'll get in touch with her so you have all your seats filled at this point, so.
Great.
And it was a close race, so it was good.
Excellent. All right, and then committee assignments, we were gonna touch upon that briefly too. Most of the people that are off now, which just let's go over that would be Betsy, Peter, and Christie. So that, and it was mostly on school operations committee. Peter was the chair. So interesting that it was all that entire committee, not teaching and learning. So that would be would we want to put
So
them on there
typically
for
what
now,
you
or-
do is if anybody wants to put it, if you want to email Lisa your preferences of what you'd want to be. So teaching and learning is usually around curriculum instruction and assessment, the NEAS visits, and anything that has to do with the academics. The operations is more policy around the operations, facilities, technology, and both of them are budget a little bit. So really teaching and learning has to do with more of that staffing, where the operations is more athletics, co-curricular, the other operational pieces of
The old board members, the old program and staff.
yeah. Yeah.
And we had facilities and policy and budget.
So if you, typically what Lisa has done is email her if you have a specific interest. If you don't, she'll assign you to
Right.
whichever one. So all your emails are first initial of your first name, then your last name at pemibaker.org. So just feel free. It's
And you can always change, you know, it's in a year, and quite often we have 2 school boards a month, so the committees are not as involved as the actual board, but we
Please,
can
just a heads up,
certainly look at
you
it.
also have negotiations for support staff next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you'll need people for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that reminder. Okay, is that everything on discussion items? Was there anything else? Phil, you want to add?
I have something after.
Committee?
Kyla does. I serve on the New Hampshire School Boards Association Executive Board, and I got an email earlier, well, late last week. We're meeting tomorrow night and meeting with our congressional delegation. And Eric Christina, who's the director, has asked us to come prepared with questions or concerns. If any of you would like me to carry any message or ask any questions, either text or email me sometime before 3 o'clock tomorrow, and I'll try to get those on the table and get some type of a response, so.
The biggest thing, I think, from our end, I know I'm not a board member, but the cooperative district bills that are going through.
This
are
is national level.
At national level?
Yep.
Okay. That's more
It's
local.
interesting because with this, what the students talk about funding for the Special Olympics, that was great to hear that, because that gave me one thing that I would speak to. But I was thinking about it, and basically the big issue is unfunded or underfunded mandates from the feds. You know, your Title I, homeless, and of course special ed. So I was going to
That's a
ask
good
that
one,
anyway.
Phil.
Yeah.
Pardon?
That's a great one.
Yes.
That's good to.
But I'm sure the other board member on that group will
Yeah.
get that. But it'll be interesting to hear what, you know, how they dance around that. But
The only other piece I want to bring up, just because the elections happened, and I'm getting a number of emails about it, is the Bridgewater, Hebron, Groton law that we had talked about. I've had some emails asking if it's true that the high school has approved all kids come to the high school. So I've been saying, no, it's something that we're waiting to consider after the vote. But just so you're aware, Bridgewater voted to withdraw from Newfound overwhelmingly, I think, and so did Groton. Hebron votes
26.
March
No,
26th.
March.
They advanced their,
They advanced it?
to address this issue, they advanced their town meeting to March 26th, so that's when you'll have a final answer. But to give you a
What?
scope, it's been a 10 to 1 vote in favor by both towns.
So what I'm gonna do is be careful about, so this may be on our agenda within the next year. It's not for implementation for 24, 25, it's for 25, 26. So basically, they have to get, if it happens, they would have to create their own school board, go through the motions, and then from there, I know they are interested in a tuition agreement with us, but that has not been done yet. So I'm just relaying some of the messages and emails that I'm getting that nothing's been officially done at the board, but I wanted to bring it up publicly so folks could view it and say, it's not out of the picture, but we'll certainly look into it if it's approved in its entirety. Okay?
What kind of numbers would we be talking about, you know, per grade?
So right now, the only number I have is that there could possibly be up to 46 students as an increase to the high school
Freshman
total.
through senior? Okay.
Freshman through senior.
And Kyla, just go over how many are in the building right now, what the capacity of the building is?
So we have
650,
650.
capacity 1,000.
Yeah,
So
we have plenty of room.
Plenty of room,
Yeah, yeah,
Take some more if we need it.
okay,
okay.
great.
Any other questions around that?
Everybody's good.
So, just future topics, I'm sure. But we're not gonna do anything until it's official, so that's what I just want to be clear with. That's all I have, I'm not gonna add anything to other.
Great, no privilege of the floor. Board member concerns, anything else? No? Okay. Tony, would you like to entertain a motion to go into non-public?
So moved.
Seconded by, who would like to second, Bernie? I'll do roll call, Sam?
Yes.
Roll call is just getting your.
Yes.
Thank you. Tony?
Yes.
Bernie?
Yes.
Bill, Barbara? Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dan, for coming.
You want?
The other- yeah.